You're shooting at 1/2000th of a second. Your subject isn't moving much. You're doing everything right. No matter what, your wildlife photographs are still not looking sharp. So what's actually going on here? Stay with me because I want you to know it's not your shutter speed. Most photographers feel sharpness is about shutter speed. Fast shutter, problem solved. But if that was true, your images would already be perfect. And they're not. The real issue is far more subtle. And once you see it, you will never ever unsee it. Sharpness is not created by shutter speed. It's created by stability and precision. There are three things that destroy sharp wildlife photographs even at 1/2000th of a second. And the third one is the one almost nobody talks about. And that's the one that cost me the most images when I was starting out. Okay, so here they are. Focus plane error. 2. Micro movement. 3. Subject tracking hesitation. Alright, let's break them down. Problem number 1. Focus plane error. You think you're focused on the eye, but you're actually focused slightly in the front or slightly behind. At long focal length, depth of field is razor thin. At 600mm, the difference between sharp and soft could be less than an inch. And here is what most photographers ignore. Your autofocus does not think like you. It grabs contrast, not intention. So if there's bright contrast near the face, it may lock onto that instead of the eye. That's not a shutter issue. That's a precision issue. And it's fixable. But fixing this alone didn't solve my sharpness problem. That's where I was wrong. When I first started to photograph wildlife, I made a mistake that cost me months. In fashion, my models move slowly, so I use the smallest focus point, precise, controlled, and easy. But when I started photographing wildlife, I thought animals move fast, so I should make it easier on the camera and choose a bigger focusing area. And that's when everything went wrong. I started photographing horses, and on the back of the camera, everything looked sharp. But when I put it into the computer, the focus was not on the eye, it was more on the nose. Why? Because the nose had stronger contrast and is slightly closer to the camera. The autofocus did not care about my intention. It only cared about contrast. And the larger focusing area that I had selected allowed it to focus on the nose instead of the eyes. That was my mistake. And the same thing happened with other animals as well. It would focus on the nose instead of the eye because the camera kept focusing for me. The day I switched back to a smaller focusing point, just like the way I did it in fashion, everything went back to normal. Precision returned to my photographs. But even after fixing that, I had soft images. And that's when I realized sharpness isn't just about focus placement. Okay, that brings us to problem number 2. Micro movements. At 600mm, the movements become massive shifts. Your breathing, your finger tension, even anticipation. When you expect the bird to take off, your body and you just tense. The tension moves the lens slightly, forward or sideways. It's invisible to you, but the sensor sees everything. Sharp wildlife photographs require physical calm, not just fast settings. And what I'm about to tell you changed more of my images than switching cameras ever did. Alright, let's talk about breathing shakes. Your camera feels your breathing. Even a small chest movement transfers through the lens. So here's what I do. When the moment comes and the animal or your subject is giving you emotion, I briefly hold my breath while pressing the shutter button. That does two things. First, it stabilizes the entire system, the camera and my body. Second, it prevents uncontrolled long bursts. Because I made a rule for myself. I only press the shutter button while I'm holding my breath. And you can't hold your breath for long. So the press of the shutter button becomes intentional, and I use it very sparingly, deliberately. And intention creates stronger emotional photographs. It's a small change, but at long focal lengths, small changes make the biggest difference. Alright, let's speak about holding your camera, your hand position on the camera. I've seen photographers hold their cameras on a tripod with both the hands gripping the body of the camera. That's unstable. Instead, one hand controls the camera and one hand controls the lens. It becomes like a seesaw, balanced and fluid. You can move smoothly without micro jerks. Alright, finger tension. My finger rests on the shutter button at all times, almost rubbing it lightly back and forth. So when the moment happens, I don't stab, I gently just press the shutter button. That reduces shake dramatically. Okay, that brings us to anticipation control. The more research I have done on my subject, the more time I have spent observing through the lens, the less I tense. Knowledge reduces anticipation. Anticipation reduces tension. And tension destroys sharpness. But even when I controlled my breathing and my body, my images still weren't consistent. Sharp wildlife photographs is not about faster settings. It's about physical discipline, calm body, controlled breath, and intentional movement. Now here's the one nobody talks about. And it's the one that ruined more of my wildlife photography than bad focusing or bad settings ever did. Even if your focus is correct, even if you're physically stable, your image can still look soft. And this is the hidden one. Problem number 3, tracking hesitation. When tracking moving wildlife, hesitation creates blur. What do I mean by that? You follow, you doubt, you recompose slightly. That tiny stop and go motion introduces softness, especially with birds in flight. The camera keeps firing, but your movement wasn't fluid. Tracking must be continuous, not reactive. The camera and body should move like one unit. Shoulders, hips, arms, all aligned. No jerks, no corrections, just flow. Tracking hesitation doesn't always look like hesitation. Sometimes it looks like distraction. Earlier on in my wildlife photography career, I would follow one subject and then the other one would move. So I would shift, then other bird would take off. So I would shift again. I thought I was being responsive, but I wasn't. I was breaking rhythm. And every time I broke rhythm, sharpness suffered. Not because of shutter speed, because of indecision. So I made a rule. I choose one subject. That's it. If that subject doesn't give me anything, that's not the subject's fault. That means I didn't study it properly. That's on me. When you commit to one subject, your tracking becomes fluid. Your body moves as one system. No sudden corrections, no reactive swings. And when that one subject gives you something, it's powerful because you were ready. Sharp wildlife photography is not about physical control. It's about decision control. And this is where most of us photographers don't want to take responsibility. Alright, here it is, guys. 1/2000th of a second doesn't create sharp wildlife photography. Decisions do, control does, and discipline does. Alright, so this is the practical fixes, okay? Before your next wildlife photography session, use a smaller focusing area, not a wide area. Hold your breath before pressing the shutter speed. Practice smooth tracking before photographing. Do that for 10 minutes before the subject arrives. You'll see the difference immediately. Sharp wildlife photography isn't about reacting faster. It's about moving less. And once you understand that, your settings finally start working for you, not against you. If you want to improve your photography skills, go watch this playlist up here, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you.